Robert, I am so excited to now reflect upon the last 2 years of this show. So let's break things down for everyone as to what they can quickly expect. Robert and I are going to share our favorite guests from over the years and some of our biggest learnings from them. Some really important episodes that if you've not yet listened to, you should go back and watch. Some of our favorite quotes as we've kind of just come up with throughout the last 2 years. And then both Robert and myself's favorite moments that have happened because of the show. So Robert, now that we have been podcasters for 2 whole years, it is unbelievable to think about. I mean, I remember the first, I think it was 13 episodes. It was audio only. I was in my bedroom just recording episodes. You were in Colorado. We had just met, and it was wild because we were just like, let's go on Amazon. Let's go find some microphones and just hit record on Riverside. And some of these episodes were they were awesome, right? We started with becoming the first millionaire in your family. We talked about buying that first rental property, building an investment portfolio from scratch. A lot of these episodes in 2023 that first off, no one listened to, by the way. No one listened to the show until seriously, I mean, we started in February. No one really listened until August, right? So we were just talking to the internet for no one to care for the longest time. And it was just so cool to see how some of that momentum turned into some incredible interviews and some really, really incredible takeaways.
Yeah, it has been a really, really cool journey. And I think back to those first episodes, we were getting to know each other. We were putting some good information out. And one of my favorite parts of all of that when talking about the beginning is to help other people realize everyone starts somewhere and you have to be willing to put in the work because success does not happen overnight. So important. And another part of this that is really, really cool for me and you, Austin, we film remotely. We don't have a big fancy studio. We don't have a team of 10 people around making sure everything is perfect. And it really is a testament that it's all about the information and the delivery and the value we bring to the audience. And that is what is so incredibly rewarding. We've had so many great memories, even this week as we film, one of our episodes being top 5 on all of Spotify when Joe Rogan has the top 3 spots. That's just mind-blowing to me. Of the millions and millions of episodes and podcasts out there, we're in the top 5, just 2 guys putting great information out, building a community from our desks. And it's just so rewarding and so incredible. I could not be any happier that you and I met and you DM'd me that one random day 2.5 years ago. And now here we are. It's just incredible.
So Robert, let's kick things off with our favorite guests. I think our first guest was George Kamel. He was from the Dave Ramsey Network. He came in to talk about something we hate, which is the IULs. He came in to talk about the whole life insurance and demystify all that stuff for everyone. It was a great, great conversation. We also heard from Candace Nelson, episode 49, right? She was the founder of Sprinkles. She sold it for millions of dollars to some private equity firms. But, a big takeaway for her was that you don't need to have the exact expertise to go start something. You and your spouse or your business partner can just learn in real time and grow and figure this stuff out. We also heard from Jay Jacobs from iShares, right? We love bringing on these experts that are able to talk with you all and share with you all some of the big Wall Street takeaways and themes and ideas that the people who have billions and trillions of dollars are thinking about when it comes to the markets.
Yeah, and I love the episodes with John Hu and also Sahil Bloom. I thought they were really, really insightful and incredible. So that was a lot of fun as well. But also, we've had so many great guests, but people always ask, why do we not do guests for every episode? And I think it's a very reasonable question. And I always tell people it's because we want to make sure that we control the narrative of the show and make sure to bring as much value as possible. So we're very, very selective on who comes on the show, because I feel a lot of podcasts, they're forced to have a guest for every episode, and that can cut down on the quality of the episode because it's hard to have a guest every single time. So I love what we've done with the guests, and I can't wait to announce some of our new guests coming up.
Speaking of quality guests, we cannot forget Harley Finkelstein, the president of Shopify. That episode last year was insane. I mean, really just want to encourage people to go listen to that one, especially if you're a budding entrepreneur or someone who's trying to start a small business or sell on Shopify, or like go do that thing you're passionate about. Harley's episode was amazing. And same thing with John. John's episode was incredible. Sahil Bloom's episode was very much more for like the average person who's trying to build their mental wealth and their physical wealth and their wealth, right? The 5 types of wealth. It was just, man, I just get goosebumps talking about this stuff. Oh, and then Jeremy Schneider from Personal Finance Club on Instagram. He came in and he was able to tell us about how he sold his company for like $6 million and how he's taken this super easy approach to investing. He's like, listen, guys, I don't want to use any brain calories. I'm in the big VTIs and VOOs, and that's just kind of what I'm up to. So I think, it's just so cool to hear from all these different people and how everyone is approaching building wealth, staying motivated, being successful in their own ways, their own terms. Everyone's in their own lane. And what I really love about this show, and I'm super grateful that you all come back every week to listen to it, is that I've been blessed with the opportunity to be friends with some really awesome people. And this show allows me to open up those friendships and relationships and bring them to the masses with you all, right? I got to meet Harley Finkelstein and I was like, hey man, jump on the show. Right. I got to meet Sahil Bloom and I was like, yo, jump on the show. I made friends with Candace Nelson on TikTok and I was like, yo, Candace, jump on the show. And this show has just been a wonderful way for us to unlock our networks, our friendships, and just say, here's some really cool people that are doing some really cool stuff that we think would help you all on a weekly basis. Come and check it out.
So let's move on to some of our key episodes because I'm so excited to talk about my favorites. A couple of my favorites were episode 44, so make sure you guys go check that one out. Your 8 favorite rich habits from 2023. That was a really, really cool episode. But I also loved episode 85, Side Hustles for Busy People. I thought that one was kind of a game changer for everyone because I think so many people think, well, I've got my 9-to-5 job. How do I get ahead? And they're thinking because they already have a job, they don't need a side hustle. And that is the wrong mindset. Having a 9-to-5 job where you know exactly when you have to go to work and come home from work leaves you the freedom to be able to take on a night job, a weekend side hustle, or it could just be being an Uber driver every Sunday from 10 to 5 to make an extra couple $100 a week to put towards your investments or your kids' college fund. So we really loved that episode. It did really well. And I think it just kind of opened the eyeballs in the brain a little bit to get people to understand you can have multiple things happening at once because you might have to give up some TV, you might have to give up some fantasy football, but at the end of the day, it's all about what you want for your life and how you build your own freedom.
My 2 favorite episodes, Robert, episode 28, Mindset Shift, Consumer to Wealth. I think that was a huge episode. It really opened up a lot of people's eyes as it relates to how important it is to be an owner and not just a consumer. And then I would say another really great one I like that's a little bit more timely is episode 100, our 2025 market predictions. Making predictions is hard, but I think Robert and I nailed it when it comes to volatility so far this year. We think that's going to be a major theme, and we just really love being able to give you guys the insights and keep you all up to date as to what Robert and I are thinking when it comes to every single year in the market. So we really appreciate having that opportunity. Robert, let's now move on to some key quotes that were shared on the show. One that I said a lot was personal finance is personal. That essentially just means that, we all come from different backgrounds. We all have different relationships with money. We all have different just life circumstances, which means that maybe you want to have a bigger emergency fund. Maybe you're a little bit more risk on, or maybe you're more risk off, or maybe you've got just a whatever's going on. Personal finance is personal, which means you have to make these decisions for yourself. Robert and I can give you a general blueprint or a framework, but at the end of the day, you have to make these decisions on your own and stick to whatever plan that you create for yourself. And another quote that I love, Robert, is if you automate your money, wealth is inevitable. We had an episode recently talking about building automation with your money, and it's really as simple as that, right? By automating your investing process, maxing out the Roth IRA every year, maybe investing toward your 401k up to the match, right? But automating these processes so you don't have to think about it on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Building wealth is inevitable over a long period of time. Consistency and compounding will take effect, and you're just going to be off to the races and have a really, really good retirement.
I love that quote, and I'm glad you say it all the time because I think it's so important to get people to understand. Most people invest based on feeling or a tip that they get from Uncle Bob down the street or whatever it is. That is not the right recipe. The recipe is to have a thesis, know your risk tolerance, automate as much as you can. So every time you get that check, $200, $300, $500 is going into your investment accounts, and go from there, because the less emotion you have involved in your investing, the better off you're going to do for the long term. So that leads me to one of my favorite quotes, and that is, you can't out-invest high interest debt. This one is so incredibly important. Make a post-it note if you're watching this episode. Put it on your refrigerator, put it on your nightstand. I don't care, but you can't be investing in the markets and then have high credit card debt over here. It doesn't make sense. The math ain't mathin'. If you've got 30% interest on your credit cards, and we hope you're going to make 10, 12% in the markets, guess what? You're upside down already by 18 or 20%. That is why we need to get that high interest debt out of the way as soon as possible, then get back to investing, cut up the credit cards, because if you're carrying these high debts, obviously you're not managing them well. Get rid of it. You can always get credit cards later when you get more financially savvy and know how to use them. And then here's the next one that I love. Make your money work as hard for you as you work to get it. Make your money work as hard for you as you work to get it. Write it down. And what this means to me and everyone that'll listen to me is that making sure you understand getting the money in your checking account does not help you if you don't get it out of your checking account, have it automated, and have it invested. I deal with people all the time on one-on-one calls or through our school community where they're like, oh, I have 180,000 sitting in my checking account. I have 28,000 sitting in my checking account. No. Get it out of there and make the money work for you. I don't care if it's a high yield savings. I don't care if it's treasury bills. You have to have your money earning money while you sleep. Otherwise, it's dead money. So those are two of my favorites when it comes to trying to illustrate to people what is best to do with their money and how to build their wealth.
I really think those 4 quotes are just chef's kiss.
Yep.
Now, let's talk about some of our favorite moments that have come from the show. I want to say my all-time favorite moment was the show hitting #1 on Spotify's business chart for the very first time. We hit #1 on the Spotify's business chart for the very first time in October of 2023. It was caused by a couple of episodes, 35, which was building generational wealth in your 20s and 30s, 36, which is investing the rich habits way, and 37, which was interest rate workarounds for 2024. It's just so cool to know that if you create a wonderful product and you put your heart and soul and time, energy, focus into providing value at scale, that you get rewarded with people's attention, positive comments, shares, likes, subscriptions, and everything in between. And hitting #1 on Spotify's business chart in October of 23 was that light bulb moment for me that was oh, wait a second, this is actually a cool podcast that people care about, right? Before it was a little hobby that you and I would do on, we did a little bit, and we didn't really we didn't have a newsletter yet. We didn't have a community yet. We didn't really do much about it. It was just let's just have a cool podcast. When we hit #1, that was the moment where my brain was whoa, this is real. Dave Ramsey's #2 and Diary of a CEO's #3, and we're #1. They've been doing it for decades, at least, several more years than we have. This is crazy. So I think that was just my favorite moment, is just that realization that really hits home in my stomach. That's people really care about what we have to say and take action as to what we do. So it gives us not only this feeling of euphoria, but also responsibility to always provide value and to always be empathetic as to people's different situations.
I'll tell you what, I love that. And I've had goosebumps this entire episode because this is just so cool. I've had a very beautiful long career, and this is definitely one of the favorite things and the best things I've ever done. So thank you, Austin. But the number that rings a bell to help everyone with their mindset is $583. And what does that mean? $583 is what I collected from the Rich Habits podcast, and so did Austin, after 1 year of work. $583. So what does that mean to all of you? It means don't quit. If you love something and you're passionate about it and you want to do it, go for it, because it's not going to happen overnight. It didn't for us either. It looks great now on paper, but like Austin said, we did episode after episode. We stayed consistent and we stayed true to our message and our authenticity. We didn't pivot. We didn't do clickbait. We did none of that because we knew that the world needed a podcast that was authentic and helpful to break down difficult situations and topics around finance, mindset, and business in a way that people could execute, because all the information in the world does not help people if they don't understand it in a way that they can execute upon it. So that is so important, and one of the reasons why I'm so happy to get to do this with you, Austin, each and every week.
I 100% agree. And something else that I really enjoyed that we need to bring back and do more of are these webinars, right? We hosted, I think, like 3 or 4 of them over the last 2 years. A couple with Neos, one with Public, one with Freck, one with Russ from Shurians, right? We've hosted a couple of these cool webinars. We should do some more of those. I think people appreciated that. It's nothing is more fun than getting 3,000 of your closest friends together in a room to talk about, personal finance and investing.
I love it. So let's talk about, which I'm sure are 2 of your favorites as well. For me, memory-wise, mind-blowing is getting to ring the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange with iShares. That was incredible. And then also us getting invited to the White House to do some behind-the-scenes work and be able to interview some cool people and just be in the White House for what we do. 2 podcasters on the internet trying to bring value, getting invited to the White House. I'll never forget those moments. And just incredible.
So we've talked about the past. Let's now allude to the future. The Rich Habits podcast is an operation at this point. We've got an editor that's been with us now for pretty much 2 years. We've got a lot of different people, call it 3 or 4 total, that are on our team, that are helping us distribute the content, that are helping us with the Rich Habits Network, that are helping us with our emails. Like, this has grown into something more than just Robert and I doing it as a hobby. And there's a lot to look forward to. 50,000 of you have already subscribed to the Rich Habits newsletter, and we hope to grow that to 100, 200, 300,000 over the coming years. We already have 535 people inside of the Rich Habits Network. Dude, I remember when we started this in August of 24, and we had like our first 100 people. Now we're at 500 people that join us live every single Tuesday night to learn from us, ask us questions, and it's so fun. So the Rich Habits Network is growing. And then Robert and I, we spent the last several weeks helping organize the Grit Money Summit. So we're doing some in real life events, which alludes to this other idea, which is Robert and I hope to have some sort of in real life event sometime in 2025. So, if you do want to meet us in real life and take some cool pictures and learn from us and other incredible people that will be invited as speakers to this event, stay tuned for that. But at the end of the day, the biggest way that you could just help us in 2025 is to stick around. 2025 is the year where we're testing things. We're trying to turn this hobby into a business that can scale beyond just Robert and I's time, because we are already spending 50 hours a week each growing this. We're trying to hire new people. We're trying to repurpose the content. We're trying to meet you guys in real life. We're trying to turn this into something larger than ourselves. And we're going to stumble along the way. We're going to have some episodes that might not be great, or we're going to have some posts online that didn't make the best of sense, or whatever's going to happen. But just stick with us, give us the benefit of the doubt, and continue to support us as we try and turn the Rich Habits podcast from a hobby into a real movement around the country and around the world.
Yeah, I love it. And the easiest thing is for people to understand is the newsletter's free, podcasts are free, content is free. And it just really comes down to you giving us that support that you already do in a way where you share it with a friend. You tell a friend about the Rich Habits podcast, say, man, you shouldn't miss this. You might have someone struggling with their business and say, man, follow these guys. They're really good with the mindset and the business strategy stuff. All of those things are ways you can support us. Go to our YouTube channel, like the stuff on YouTube, follow us on Instagram. All of those things help us continue to grow, hire talented people so we can really, like Austin said, make this a movement around the country and around the world, because we are so blessed to have such an incredible audience already. And we have the best jobs on earth, and I love doing it every single day.
Don't forget to leave a comment on this episode with an idea or some sort of, thing that you want to see from the Rich Habits podcast in 2025. If it's merch, if it's events, if it is, I don't know, something else with the newsletter, like whatever you want to see, like we're open to ideas. Any way that we can provide value to you all at scale, let us know. We're in on it. We want to do that. And we're so grateful that you all come back each and every week to listen to the Rich Habits podcast. So thank you all for 2 amazing years of the Rich Habits podcast. And we can't wait to see you in year 3, 4, 5, 6, and beyond.
Wow, that is just mind-blowing. What a great episode. And thank you all again from the bottom of our hearts, and we'll see you on the next episode.